I really want him to get to 1,000. I love I kind of feel like he has to. Let's discuss the fanfare and all that we have now from Alex Ovechkin breaking this great record. The goal was amazing, as a lot of people have said. Made sense that it was on the power play. It wasn't a vintage Alex Ovechkin goal, but I like the greatest goal scorer of all time saying, my vintage goal is however I score it, because I'm Alex fucking Ovechkin. So the goal was great. The stoppage felt appropriate. That it was on the road, whatever, that's fine. But as you all noted, everyone showed up. Mm-hmm. I saw there was like one Islanders fan who had a sign that was like, not today. And I was like, it better be today.
Probably today.
And as soon as that happens, that guy's got to be like, I wish I wasn't wearing this fucking shirt. Do you rip up that sign? Do you pretend that you didn't bring it to the game? Because if you hold a not today sign and it is emphatically today, you are an asshole.
I mean, you're an idiot if you go to an Alex Ovechkin, if you go to a Capitals game with a sign saying like, I bet Alex Ovechkin doesn't score. Yeah, it probably isn't going to happen. But
that sign rocks. I feel like it's good behavior because you have nothing to lose. If you get it wrong, you're just like, oh, I mean, obviously Ovi was going to score, and if you were right, you're like,
speaking of pregame stuff that we saw, Sean, can you throw up the fan that was wearing I don't know if we can call this person a fan. They are the ultimate hater, and really, I only want to include this on the show to get your take on it, Sean. Somebody went to the game wearing a Sidney Crosby jersey.
So I'm generally anti wearing jerseys that have nothing to do with the game that you're watching. I think they should be of a player or a team involved in the game in some way, with some exceptions. But I love this. Some of the other Crosby Ovi discourse that happened was odd, but generally speaking, I love the behavior of being like, this is my rival.
I agree with the first part of what you said. I agree with all of what you just said, but I think that the reason why it doesn't apply to the first part, like a thing that doesn't have anything to do with the game, you know exactly what the statement is by this guy wearing that
100%.
jersey to the game.
That's why I'm saying, like generally speaking, I have like kind of strict rules about jersey wearing, but when somebody wears a team that's not involved, there's so many of the times you're like, what are you doing? Like, what is that guy's deal? What are you trying to prove? You know exactly what that guy's trying to prove. And that's an OG Sidney Crosby Penguins jersey. Absolute respect to that hater behavior. It's a Coho. I mean, I famously wanted to wear a
is that Reebok or Coho?
Coho.
It looks like Coho,
yeah. I famously wanted to wear a Marchand Panthers jersey to a Bruins game that the Panthers weren't playing at. So I am all for making a statement with an obscure jersey. But it is definitely like peak hater energy.
Okay. There's that. Let's hit the thing that pissed me off most of this whole affair. And yes, it does involve the Islanders. And I'm really not trying to beat up on the Islanders too much. But did you see they charged $45 for attendees of the game? So if you went to the game, had a ticket, clearly paid possibly quite a bit unless you are a season ticket holder, a ton to get it, you had to pay an additional $45 to get a physical printout of the ticket to commemorate this historic event. New York Islanders, this is a very cool thing that you got to be a part of. Not to go Johnny Laz here, but like there's no shame in being the team against whom Alex Ovechkin broke this record. Everybody ascended upon your home. They wanted to go to this great event hosted by the New York Islanders, and you're making it more difficult for them to commemorate it. Like in this, you want to do that for other games because, quote unquote, you care about the environment and you want there to be a deterrent for getting physical tickets. That's fine. For this one, it has to be free.
Yeah, I also think that it's just like it is. Capitalism needs to be stopped at some point. There are lines for capitalism, and
Comrade
printing out a ticket for $45 for like, there's good reason why you're offering the physical tickets for this thing, and it's unacceptable. It's just the stupidest thing in the world. There's no reason to charge $45 for it. If you want to charge $5 or $10 or whatever for the cost of whatever the printing may be, fine. There's no excuse for $45 in this situation. There just isn't.
Unless I am mistaken, and unless my friend Rich is just a very nice guy, I went to the NBA Finals last year, and a few months ago, my friend Rich, season ticket holder, was like, hey, remind me, I got our physical tickets for that game. So like, I'll give it to you next time. See, and it's in like a card holder thing, but for a ticket. And it's a beautiful fucking big, like NBA finals. It's shiny and everything. To my knowledge, the Celtics just fucking gave him that, which for something like that, I think it should be free. I think that you should not get in the way of anybody having this thing to commemorate this cool thing that, yes, Islanders, I know it was like against you that he scored the goal, but it's also an Islanders win. So that really is the thing that made me most cranky yesterday.
Chat's having a lot of fun with saying that
Comrade
I'm
Pete.
a comrade. Listen, fine. If that's what the consequences, sometimes capitalism goes too far.
The proletariat Pete. I like it.
Okay, the best piece of memorabilia though from yesterday came during the broadcast, or I think it was after the broadcast. I had it on, and they were saying that Ilya Sorokin came to the Capitals room for the celebration and everything, and Johnny Laz must have been thrilled with that. And he was coming over to give Alex Ovechkin his stick because Ovechkin had requested, "Give me the stick that couldn't stop my puck."
It's crazy. It's so crazy to be like, I just made you a footnote in history. You were part of my big moment. Now let me have my souvenir from you.
I do think, though, there was an hour window in which Alex Ovechkin could ask anybody participating in that game for anything, and he would get it. And people would just do it with like "oh, naturally, sir."
Yes, and I think like deservedly so. Sorokin can't say no in that moment, nor would I think he would he want to. They're comrades. They know each other. I think that it was a nice little gesture, but I also think it's very funny from Ovechkin's part to just be like, "Hey, let me keep that for further embarrassment." Also, I did find out Tom Galiti, I think, wrote a thing saying Ovechkin wanted it for his stick collection, which apparently is pretty massive, and he plans on opening up a museum in 2 years.
Sorokin also added, seeing the video with just captions, he added that he'll send Ovi his glove after the season, but he kind of needs that one.
Oh, send it his glove?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I thought you said sending his love.
Maybe that
and
too.
I was like, okay,
maybe
that's
a nice little handwritten note with the glove.
Interesting thing to promise this offseason.
Okay, so this, as you said, this is for his museum that he wants to open in a couple of years. He famously said somewhere, I think it was with Linda Cohn, that this was years ago. She was like, "What if you broke Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal-scoring record?" He was like, "I'd go the fuck away. I would." I think he said instant retirement. So he has been on the record, and obviously things change, of saying that I will not play long past. I mean, I think that he's going to try to finish out this season. Capitals are in position to make the playoffs.
But if
the season ended,
it would be unbelievable.
If they weren't in position for the playoffs and he was just like, "Fuck this shit," goes down the tunnel, never to be seen again. Fucking awesome.
Unbelievable theater. Yeah.
No, I mean, what if he did it now, though? What if he was
I still think it would be way better if he did it now. He's like, Ryan Leonard, this is your team now.
It would be cool, but then we'd have to watch an Alex Ovechkin-less Washington Capitals in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and I'd
we'd be
very
talking
pissed.
about how Alex Ovechkin walked
Just
out on the team.
The Caps.
Dude, I was gonna say, like, that would be so perfect for this unpredictable Capitals team. The construction of it, we've spoken about a million times, was bonkers. How they have succeeded and how they have all fit together, and the Logan Thompson and the Jacob Chikrin, and like everything has been positively mad. If now it was like, okay, the President's Trophy winners minus their best player open against the pesky Canadiens. Theater, baby. Oh, yeah. And what comes after 8? 9. He's passing the torch.
Yeah, I did see a lot. I did see a lot of shout out Wayne for wearing his Ryan Leonard pin during the game because he was wearing the Gordie Howe pin.
Shout out Ryan Leonard. I'm sure everybody saw it on Friday, but after he scored the empty netter that Alex Ovechkin wasn't allowed to score, Wayne Gretzky in the room was like, "Where's that young man who scored his first goal?" I'd be like, "Sir, I was a top 10 pick." But amazing.
That's got to be like the most surreal week in history. For a NHL
talk about a roller coaster
to score his first goal, or I guess get eliminated in the college playoff, join the Caps, play like the next day in his hometown on the road, then score his first goal, get congratulated by Wayne. Then the very next game,
Ovi ties the record.
Yeah, the very next game, Ovi breaks the record and is part of that. It's got to be insane.
I'm going to push back on your verbiage. I don't think a Boston College player getting eliminated could feel surreal.
That's fair.
That's gotta feel so normal.
Run of the mill.
Yeah. And then after that, you wake up, normal day, get eliminated, and then next thing you know, you're in the NHL. Now that is pretty surreal. So if he's opening a museum in a couple of years with all these goalie sticks, this could be a side hustle, but it could also mean that he's done playing. I brought this up before the show. I really want him to get to 1,000. I love I kind of feel like he has to, but it didn't dawn on me until before the show. He's got to play like 4 more years to get to 1,000.
Not at this pace.
Not at this pace, but at some point, I mean, the pace is already slowing. It's faster than it was a year or two ago, but to get 105,
the pace is already slowing. He's like on pace for like 60 goals this year.
I said it's slowed, and this year it's back up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
105 more goals. Let's say he scores 33 for each of the next seasons. Let's say he scores 40 and then 30 and then 20, whatever. That's still not 1,000. So the issue is he's going to have to play into a 4th season, at which point I think then maybe the Capitals, I don't know, they should be really good because their young guys are still coming up. They still got Hudson and all these guys, but the score the goal, take the gloves off, see ya, bitch, I'm out of here, then it's realistic because he would have to play into a 4th season to do it.
Maybe. I just think that he's thrown up so many smoke signals that next year is his final season. And doing like the farewell tour, like the Marc-Andre Fleury farewell tour next season would make a lot of sense. He goes home and plays in the KHL. I think 1,000 would be possible if he wanted to do it. I wonder, though, how much he wants to hit that mark, and I wonder how much steam he loses after now having done the big thing. You know, because like I've heard people talking about it, and you mentioned like he slowed his pace last year with the Capitals not being very good, and with the Caps being good this year, he's been kind of rejuvenated. At what, like, how much wind comes out of the sails now that he's done this big thing? Now that like the Cap season is coming to an end and they're going to have the playoffs and like that's going to be great, but like hitting the reset on next season, how much motivation is there going to be for him to score a ton?
I mean, I think part of it depends on what this team does in the playoffs. If this team makes a deep playoff run, it makes it even less likely that he's going to be able to have another massive season because the man should just be tired. He's gone through a broken leg. He's scored a bajillion goals. Yes, this past week has been this massive push from him. So I think that right now it's focus on try to win a Stanley Cup in this season. And if that is sitting out in the last few games of the season, then that's that. But that takes him obviously further away from 1,000.
We all silly like the mayor.